Decaf initially happened on a video camera at film school in Hamilton, and I entered it in an Auckland, what used to be called the Auckland Short Film Fest, and it got audience voted best animation, which was hilarious because it was crap animation on a stop-start video camera. But that got me some funding from Creative New Zealand, and then with $8,000 we made 4 episodes on 35mm film over 2 days. That's how long it took to animate. Because you notice half the shots aren't animated. It's just, you can probably almost see the hand at the bottom of the frame just shaking him. So they're going, yeah, I can't be bothered animating. I'll just shake him and I'll just talk angrily. Yeah, you got a problem with that. Yeah, that looked cool. Funny thing is, I took it around the world. I got to fly to festivals with it, to like animation festivals, like, and be in competition against things like Wallace and Gromit. And audiences really liked it because it was so brutally basic. There's no pretense to it. There was no wanky animation because I couldn't animate, and they knew that, but they liked the character. So I was like a fledgling filmmaker, and there was a couple of producers in Wellington, and they were commissioned to do those, celebrate New Zealand's centenary. So they went, let's get the oldest filmmaker in New Zealand, which was John O'Shea at the time, and let's get the youngest, punkiest, upstart filmmaker. And I had red hair, and I was Mr. I don't know how to do filmmaking, but I like it. And they got me and they said, can you make a film that celebrates New Zealand films? And I went, well, I'll only do the ones I know. And so I just did a kind of cursory search of 100 years and did war movies, war newsreels. The first ever, some guy who invented a hand crank camera, and then Goodbye Pork Pie, Once Warriors, The Piano, Brain Dead. I went, I'll just do all the modern ones, and tried to morph them together. And it seemed to work. People seemed to like it. I just went for as natural as I could get things. What you hear in the locals, the dialogue that the actors are firing out, it's pretty much the actors just talking as themselves. Because I cast people who fitted the characters that I wanted, and then I let them sort of say my script, how they'd say it. I think John Barker says bro 450 times in the first 7 minutes or something. There's no computer effects in the locals at all. So whenever something happens, like a car ages 25 years or a bridge disappears, we decided to do it as animation, and I basically taught the entire crew how to animate. So we got this upside down car in a studio, and I said, right, we're going to make it go from new to old. And I had everyone going in the window, and I said, right, just move it a little bit, like tear a seat there and put a bit of dust on that steering wheel, and let's put some leaves in. And we spent 6 hours animating. So I kind of was like animation teacher, even though I couldn't animate very well. It worked, especially when we painted Bill Black, the lead character, the old guy, dies and turns to dust and becomes the earth again. And we basically had him lie on the ground out in the Waikato sunrise for 4 hours as we painted him with makeup black, and then we made a clay version of him and sort of swapped it in and had it crumble away. That was awesome. When I wrote the script, I played certain types of music, and it was never the stuff that ended up in the film. I played a whole bunch of like really hardcore death metal because I wrote the script, raw, and then got me typing really fast. But then when we got into the editing stage, we knew that it was going to be a mix of like an orchestral score. I had Victoria Kelly writing me a score, but then I said, it needs to have the feeling of these characters and their eras, so let's get all the rock bands that I know. And I basically assembled the music, the score, the soundtrack part, in the edit suite. And I just sat there while the editor was cutting, texting all the bands I'd done clips for. Hey, Dave from Elemento P, Pagey here. Can I have a song for my film? Sweet! Because you're in the film, mate, of course, you freaking show off. And everyone, 8 Foot Sativa, Blind Spot, everyone I said, oh guys, look, can't give you any money, but it's going to be on a movie soundtrack. We shot Exit to the City in the back of the rental van we used to move all our gear around. We just got a whole lot of egg cartons and taped them to the wall with gaffer tape. And we shot that in 2 or 3 hours or something, driving around Auckland on a Sunday morning. The runner drove the car, we put a beanie on her, and I said, just take corners really hardcore. Me and the camera guy sat in the back, squashed against the back door. The windows fogged up, and we just drove around, and the boys we had the CD playing in there through a big speaker, and we just blasted it. The reason is the D4 are phenomenal performers. They're live, they're stunning, so I just sort of amped them up to the point where I said, it's got frickin' nuts in the van. Do not stop. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt the camera. Bring it on. Come on. And Dion and all the boys just went, Jimmy just went nuts. So it kept itself alive because of them. Other bands, a shoegazing band, it wouldn't have worked. We would have had to roll the van to get them interesting. That would have been, if I had more money, I would have done that in the D4 clip, you know, playing, and then would have crashed the van and cut to shots of the van rolling. And I wanted the van doors the camera to spin around at the end and the doors to kick open and have like 40 cop cars and guns, but you can't do that in New Zealand without, you know, $400,000. So I like to sort of torture bands and put them in precarious situations. So it's like a guy I know had his dad owned an ice cream factory, and he said, "These freezers are huge. You've got to see these freezers at the Kiwi ice cream factory." I was like, "All right, let's go there." And you know, we go to somewhere and they go, "Right, we're going to go in there. It's negative 29 degrees centigrade. Don't touch anything. Yeah, yep. You know, you can be in there for, put this jacket on. You be in there for the 20 seconds, and your breath will start freezing up." And we went in and yeah, wow, we're shooting here. On the day, they're all going to wear Arctic jackets and all kinds of, you know, Russian, you know, snow gear and look all cool like that. And then we were about to shoot. We were all the gear was in the freezer, and Big Scotty was up first, and he just said, he went, took off his shirt, took off his jacket stuff, and went, "I'm doing my singlet." Yeah, he's like, "Doing my singlet." And I saw Dave Gibbs go, "Oh." Right then, we shot on 16mm film. You can't, a film camera's like a car engine, and it has oil and stuff in it, and if you take it into that much drop in temperature, the oil can actually thicken up and it'll seize the camera. So we drained half the oil out of our camera. You can't take a speaker or anything like a drum. You can't take anything like that into a freezer because it just becomes so brittle, like glass. So the band, you'll probably notice they're actually wearing little earpieces. They're wearing little hearing aids that had the song playing, and they had a Walkman. So none of the crew who were in the freezer in Arctic jackets could hear the music. I mean, I stupidly did the old Dumb and Dumber thing and couldn't undo a latch on a ladder with my big gloves on, so I took them off. Oh. Can someone get some hot water, please? My fingers are stuck to the ladder. You can run lights in a freezer like that. Light bulbs are okay because they're fighting the cold all the time. We have cables running out the door, but unfortunately the lights change the temperature of the freezer. It's a huge freezer full of $1 million worth of ice cream, and they said to us, if it gets above negative 17 or something, all the ice cream has perished and you'll own it all. You'll own all that ice cream. And I said, "How much is it?" "It's $1 million worth of ice cream." So we had to keep stopping shooting and leaving and letting the freezer get cold again. If you look in some of the shots, you can see the stuff closest to the lights is melting and dripping everywhere. But that's awesome. I took home 10-litre pails of, you know, goody gumdrops, whatever it was. The pro is it's a small pile, so it's really easy to get to the top or close to the top of the pile. It's easy to see the top of the pile rather than if I was in America trying to do the locals, I'd still be trying to get someone to read the script. Whereas here, we have a film commission, which is, people bitch about it because they're, you know, they make you jump through all kinds of hoops and they make you mess around, but you know, compared to dealing with a giant studio, it's nothing. You've pretty much worked with everyone before somewhere on set, which is great. It means that it's a real community buzz, and especially when you're making a film that's set in New Zealand crew especially and actors gravitate towards it, and they'll put a whole lot more heart into it because it's local. It's whereas, you know, a lot of people work on overseas productions and they do it for the money because it's great work, but then they get to come and downgrade in budget and work on a New Zealand film. They'll put more soul into it because they really care about it, which is nice. Cons, it's a small country. You've worked with everyone else before. You know, you can get to the top of the pile really quickly, which may not be a good thing. The other con I've found recently is because of all the large overseas productions that come through. When I started in the industry, I was like a runner and you know, all that stuff, which you do. It's like your apprenticeship. Now the runners and stuff are coming out of film school or whatever, and they go into these giant productions with budgets that just go, throw money at the problem. And then I get them on a music video and they have no idea how to forage, how to find things, how to work on the smell of an oily rag. They just go, "Oh, we'll just go and buy that stuff." I'm like, "No, you're not getting any money. You'll get 2 trays of beer to use as bartering and nothing else. You won't even have a van. Running actually means running." People aren't being trained the same way, you know. They don't have that kind of punky experience, I guess, but beating around pretty quickly.